Hi, everyone, and welcome to this is the group coaching call for Wednesday, April 30th. And I'm super excited to be talking about this presentation. I'm actually going to be doing a presentation later today, and it's called Move with Confidence, Regaining Ease and Strength as You Age. So I'm excited to be sharing all of this with you right now, and I hope you enjoy it. And if you are watching the recording, please let me know that you're watching the recording by typing in the comments #replay, and let me know your takeaways at the end. I will also ask you that question again, but I really want to know what you're going to get out of this going into this talk. So here we go. I am going to share my screen with my slides so that you can follow along with me. Here we are. All right, so we should be seeing this right now. I'm going to make it a little better. Okay, so move with confidence, regaining ease and strength as you age. This is a hot topic, right? Who doesn't want to move with confidence as you age? And this is just a little bit about me. So I help women and men ages 55 and older. I do actually, I'm just going to reiterate, I do help people a little bit younger than this, but I'm going to say my average client age is about 70. Yeah, mostly women, but I do help men who are experiencing physical discomfort in their movement to improve their range of motion, gain strength, and build confidence through a pain-free exercise program. So I have had 20 years of experience teaching and training individuals in various exercise and movement practices, including yoga, bar, and just total body strength conditioning. And as you see below, those are just a few of my accolades. I really believe in education. Right? Educating yourself, doing the research, learning about a specific topic. In this case, the body, how the body functions, and becoming a personal trainer, fitness instructor. But way back, even when I became a yoga instructor, there were so many experiences where I, watch people move. I've been watching people move for over 20 years. And I'm telling you, that's a wealth of knowledge right there. And I want to just first of all explain why this topic, why am I talking about this? Aging, right? Well, okay, I'm going to be 47 this year as this is being recorded. I know, you're probably thinking, you're not old, Liz, just you wait. But because I have this experience with body work, right? I was also a trained massage therapist. Okay, so I know a lot about anatomy, physiology. I have moved body, when having this experience just with movement in general. When I turned into my 40s, things started happening a little differently. All of a sudden, I started injuring myself. And it wasn't just, maybe it was in a workout I was doing, which happens, right? We work out and we're doing our thing for whatever long we're doing. And then all of a sudden, we tweak something and then we have to take a break and then we can return to it, right? Well, this started to happen a lot. And I thought I had tight hips, tight hams, tight hip flexors. Mind you, I did have a C-section, okay, from with my daughter at 37 years old. And if you're a woman listening to this and you had a C-section, you know what I'm talking about. But even if you haven't had a C-section and you're a woman and you had a baby, okay, that's part of it, especially if you've been experiencing back pain. First, my whole thing started in my hip. And yeah, did I do something about it? Sure. I went to the chiropractor. She gave me some tips, fixed me up. I made sure I was getting massages, things like that. But I wasn't really thinking could this be a weakness somewhere? And then, you know, I didn't think of that, right? Like, and this is really early in my 40s. And then, you know what, just like maybe a year, actually a year ago, a year or two ago, it just would not stop happening. I would take a break from working out and then I would take a break from working out and then get injured when I'd start back up again. And I'm going, what the hell am I doing? And it wasn't what I was doing, it was what I was not doing. And it was, I was not addressing the dysfunction in my core. All right. This isn't a talk about core. I am going to mention the core, but I just want you to hear that piece, right? And once I got it addressed through a other professional that could watch my body, see how I move, see how I engage my muscles, and be able to give me the proper feedback to say, Liz, this is what's going on, right? And for me, it was my pelvic floor. That's why my back was going out and it was just radiating up. It was going into my shoulder, right? I mean, I could go on and on and on about the whole history of things. But once I started to address it with a few simple exercises daily, oh my gosh, what an improvement. What an improvement. And being a fitness professional, it really did jolt me. It did shake me up where I was like, oh my God, I really don't know what I know. So that's just a little backstory about me and why I am talking about this, because I think it's really important to put that into context of, you know, this isn't just for people in their 40s and older, right? This is for people younger that should just know a little about this. Have this in the back of your head, right? Okay. Just taking a quick sip of my tea, and here we go. Let's get into it. I'm also keeping an eye on the time here. All right. Why we age. Why we age. Here are just a few things. I'm not going to go crazy here, but for the most part, it's programmed sentiments. That is just means the process of growing old. It also means we start to lose our cell power. If you took biology in school at one point in time, and you might be in that field listening to this, we have gazillion cells in our organs, traveling and doing their work to keep us functioning properly, okay? To make things, just everything function properly, right? And we're all different genetically, DNA, all of that, right? I'm not going to go into DNA, but we're all genetically made up differently, okay? And we have chromosomes, right? In our cells, right? So each chromosome of our cell has a cap called a telomere, and that's the end of a shoelace. If you look at this little graphic I have here, this is actually what a telomere looks like. It just is made of a shoelace, which I thought was really cool graphic here. And these are the telomeres, the ends of the shoelaces. And what happens is that over time, as we age, they start to fray or wear away. Okay, that's just a natural process of aging, right? I'm sure it happens to other animals as well, right? Because we are sort of mammals in some sense, but that is what happens. And that's when our cells start to die. If the telomere is intact, right, our cells remain alive and strong, okay? But we can't, it's like there's only so much, there's so much we can do with that, right? It's going to happen. It's inevitable. But just knowing that back, okay, that is where it starts. Like really deeply, internally, physiologically, is that the telomere starts to wear away. Now, okay, why? Okay, most agree it's all about choices we make, right, in our lifetime. Just think about all the things you used to do, especially as a young child, teenager, 20-something-year-old, right? Just when you think back on all the things you've done, and I think right back to college when, I was having a good time. I mean, I was still studying, but yeah, you're going to parties, you're doing whatever. But we can agree that the choices we make at an earlier age are going to affect us now at a later age. So I'm talking stress, nutrition, exercise, toxins. Okay. So, like, depending on how much stress you've endured in your lifetime, your nutrition, and I'm talking hydrate, not just eating what you eat or drink, but I'm also talking about sleep. And of course, exercise, how active you were, and then just toxins, which we can't always control toxins. We can't always do that. And this is just continuing on, is that due to lifestyle behaviors and stressors, the telomere of the cell shortens up. So considered cell senescence, or the death of the cell, which sets in motion the death of the tissue or organ that the cell comprises, right? So wherever the cell is, whatever organ, whatever tissue, muscle, okay, like, it's happening, right? And this isn't to scare you. This is just what naturally happens. And in regards to stress, nutrition, exercise, and toxins, most research shows senescence can happen as early as age 30. And as cells age, the function of our bodies decrease. And this happens slowly. It happens slowly, but have you ever just all of a sudden, and I'm talking musculoskeletal, you wake up and you're like, your neck hurts, or you have this new thing and it's not going away, right? Like when you were young, you could shake it off, right? Oh, if I just get moving, it'll like go away. That's what I used to do. And it did. But then all of a sudden it didn't. So keeping that in mind. And there are many changes with age. I'm not going to go through each one of these, but there's physiological, musculoskeletal. Actually, I'm going to take that off, but it's really mostly musculoskeletal, hormone and endocrine, neurological, cardiovascular, and psychological conditions. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Sorry, I'm breaking. Here we go. Okay. Had a little freeze moment. All right. Physiological changes. So after the age of 50, natural changes occur due to chronological age. We all know what chronological age means. It's right from birth to where you are now, the number of years. Okay. Fortunately, we cannot mess with that, right? We cannot mess with chronological age, but we can manage the biological, psychological, social aspects of aging. We can manage and control those to an extent, okay, with lifestyle and behavior modifications. So musculoskeletal, I'm just going to go through these quick. That has to do with bone loss, like osteopenia, osteoarthritis, osteoporosis, where we lose bone density. Sarcopenia, which is the loss of muscle mass. And then, of course, we run into fractures and falls. All right. Endocrine has to do with hormonal changes, like and then we have diabetes. That's a hot topic. Thyroid dysfunction. So anything hormonal going on can change as we age. Ladies, menopause, right? Like we go through a premenopausal stage before we hit menopause, and we may even experience postmenopausal situations after that. Then there's nervous, which is the nervous system, dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, just things that have to do with the nervous system. Cardiovascular, which goes with stroke, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, which we know can lead to major cardiac episodes. Psychological, depression and loneliness, sleep deprivation. These can definitely happen as we age, and it can be just because of the whole concept of aging. I talk to people every day, and they really do get bummed out how old they are and the things that they are experiencing right now. And it can be very depressing. It really can. And sometimes we feel lonely because we're Our loved ones have passed on, and friends are starting to pass on too. And that gets very depressing. And of course, sleep deprivation can definitely mess with um, not just, your mood, but musculoskeletal. So it says a recent study that tracked and looked at falls in an assisted living retirement home for over 1 calendar year reported that in 90% of cases, those who suffered severe falls were dehydrated and sleep deprived. And then, of course, more changes. This is a very interesting one, is dehydration. This is caused by a fear of incontinence too. Okay, so women, I know, especially women, especially if you've had babies, our pelvic floor muscles get weak, right? And sometimes we laugh, we cry, we laugh, we sneeze, we cough, or worse, right? It depends on the severity of it. We become dehydrated, so we're not drinking like enough water because we don't want to have that problem. When we're dehydrated, it contributes to joint and muscular instability. So it does affect your movement. As we age, our sensation of thirst weakens due to changes in body composition. As we get older, this is what happens. Our body composition changes. And that sensation to drink of thirst, it just goes down. So getting proper hydration helps with muscle and joint stiffness, but it also helps, you feel at least more awake too. Sometimes we feel really tired and fatigued, and we associate that with, oh, I got to get more caffeine, right? Which dehydrates us even more. And then sleep issues. Sleep deprivation also can lead to a decline in the ability of the muscles to contract as necessary for gait efficiency, right? So linking that with falls, right, in that assisted living community. If those residents are not sleeping well, they're at risk for falls. So what can we do? It's not too late. Here's why. So the Centers for Disease Control, CDC, position is that lifestyle decisions impacting our health and well-being play a greater role than medication. We shape our wellness and our happiness through our decisions and lifestyle behaviors. I'm not saying medication does not have its place. There are situations where you, in fact, do need medication. However, we can shape our lifestyle, our choices, our decisions around that support from the medication. We know eating habits can contribute to some of these biological conditions and help improve symptoms, right? We know less sugar, right? I mean, I'm not going to go into crazy nutritional stuff, but protein, especially as we age. One of my partners, she's a dietitian. She says as you get older, your need for protein increases, where like your proteins and fats are more needed for caloric intake, and certain carbs go down. Why do we need protein? Not just for muscle maintenance, right? To help our muscles stay strong, but it controls blood sugar. Yeah, it controls our blood sugar. Big time. When we age well, we think well. There was a study called the Counterclockwise Study of 1979. I recommend you Google it. I can't go into super detail right now because of time, but I'll try to give a quick synopsis. Is that back in 1979, they gathered a whole bunch of people and basically aged them back 20 years. And so it was 1959. So whatever age they were, I think they were like just a younger age, obviously 20 years younger. And they talked to them differently. Okay. Right. Because I don't know, sometimes people tell me when especially they get talked to differently because they're older or something. So they talked to them when they were younger. They had all those things around them that were from that era. They had group activities together. And to make a long story short, they the data showed that their grip strength, this was interesting, their grip strength, that was it, their grip strength increased. So that's just one thing. I definitely recommend going and reading that study. It's really amazing. So what else can we do? Posture and gait training, addressing postural imbalances within the body, which I do a lot with in my yoga classes, but not just in my yoga classes, but when I work one-on-one with people and in group. Strengthening ankles, knees, and hips for better mobility in the joints. You're going to feel better when you really work on your posture as well. It does give you confidence when you have a strong posture, right? Everybody do this. Just slouch, right? How does this feel? How does this feel? Now, roll your shoulders back, lift your chest. Now that feels better, right? This is going to help you perform activities of daily life, daily living independently when you have better posture and gait efficiency. It's going to reduce fear of falls or falls in general. I should say, and falls in general. You can do flexibility training, self-myofascial release techniques. These are done with different tools, such as a foam roller, different balls, different things like a massage. You're basically massaging out the tissue, getting all those adhesions out to create more circulation and blood flow within the connective tissues. It also promotes better recovery, along with dynamic stretching, which is the moving stretch. So in other words, if you take class with me, we do a lot of this. This is dynamic stretching, okay? And then we do static hold stretching, which might be a lunge or a shoulder stretch where you just pull it and you hold, okay? Those are those two things. And this is going to help improve range of motion in the joints. Oh, it's delaying again. Yep. Okay. And then strength training. We can do strength training, total body weight, and weight training. Weight training is the use of dumbbells, resistance bands. Okay, so resistance training, but body weight as well. I do a lot of body weight training first in my classes with people, especially people who haven't been out of it for a while with exercise and they're a little deconditioned. We work on the body weight first. We add stuff later. And of course, core activation strength. There's core again, right? I talked about core at the beginning of this. Why do we want to activate our core? Why do we want to strengthen our core? It spares the spine of excessive load, okay? So if we're loading up, holding things, putting things away, lifting weights, whatever, we want to secure the spine. The transfer of force from lower to upper body and vice versa. And that is picking up and putting down things, climbing stairs, reaching for things up or sideways, and peeling potatoes. Yeah. One of my colleagues, she had abdominal surgery. She had a hernia repair. And she couldn't believe it, but she was in a recovery period. And she was sitting, she was standing or sitting. I can't remember what it was when she told me. But just this, the peeling of potatoes, it hurt. She had to stop because she was like, oh my God, this is hurting. So she stopped, obviously. She couldn't finish peeling her potatoes, but it was mind-blowing to her that she was like, oh my God, you use your core to peel potatoes. I had no idea. So arms, right? Everything is so connected to the core. Improves posture with strength training and core strength training. And it helps the body move efficiently, integration of everything, and for neural pathways to stay strong and to open more neural pathways. All right. which brings me towards the end of this. So everything I just said that you can do, I do in my programming. So SEAT program is supported exercise for ageless training. This is choreographed to music. It integrates all fundamental movements: hinge, squat, push, pull, rotational movements, right? It's what the body needs to do to stay functional and healthy and mobile. Every exercise has a purpose. For example, we're talking neuroplasticity. It's the brain's capacity to change and reorganize itself throughout life, enabling learning and adaptation by forming new connections and strengthening existing ones. So you might have, we have our current neural pathways, right? Our current ways of learning, but when we learn something new, right? It takes time. Yeah, new moves take time. So the more we practice these new movements, get a variety in, we're strengthening our brain's capacity to change and learn more. Cognitive health, right there. It's great for all ages and levels of fitness, including pregnant and postpartum women, because it's low impact. Okay, it's low impact. And if you're pregnant, you have, you're carrying all that weight, it's going to help keep you healthy and energized. And then postpartum, right, it's going to help you ease back into exercise. And then, of course, my senior fitness classes, which incorporates everything that I just said. It's just in a different structure and format. And then lastly is my customized program, Power Up Your Strength. It's a 12-week comprehensive program that takes all of these topics that I am discussing into account. And we work individually in a small group setting. It's a hybrid program right now. I am really having a lot of fun with that. So it's in person, but also virtual. The virtual is mostly where you get coaching and support. But based on your goals, it's like, what do you want to work on? Why do you want to work on it? Where do you want to be doing in 1 year or more from now, right? That is the big question that I talk to people initially. What do you want to be doing? Forget about everything you have to do and all the things that you have to do. What about you? Where do you want to be? We do assessments. I know people don't like that word sometimes, but assessments. We look at your posture and your movement. We evaluate current lifestyle and see where we can improve. And we do one area at a time, right? What could we add, right? What could we add more of to make you feel better, to make you feel stronger, more confident? And then there's group coaching through movement and regular coaching sessions. And this is the big word here, for accountability and support. It's not just sets and reps. It's not just an exercise class where you go home and, right, that's it. And then you go back the next week or the next day. You do work outside of the sessions as well. You work on yourself. You work on yourself and your goals. And it's about education. It's not just about sets and reps. Like I said, it's not, okay, do these many sets from this many reps. It's not all of that. It's not all movement. You're really going to work on yourself, your mindset, what you are eating, drinking, not drinking, right? And these are just a few testimonials from a few current clients that I have worked with. You can read more on my website, mindfullyfitninja.com. But the first one, she has been with me for a while, but since she jumped into my program, better balance, mobility, flexibility, and strength, she can carry the full load of laundry basket up and down the stairs without holding the railing. It's pretty impressive. She can get out of a chair without using her arms, right? She doesn't have to do this. And she has more energy and stamina. I definitely feel the workouts have helped with my body mechanics. I can get up and down from the floor easier. This particular person, she's in her 50s. I don't know her exact number, but she she runs a daycare. She runs a like a pre-K class. She's got to get on that floor with these kids. And she says it's been helped, like the program helped her just get up off the floor easier, right? Especially if their kid takes off, right? It helps clear her mind and reduce stress. She always sleeps better after sessions. And this last one, I helped her with her pre and post hip replacement surgery. So I'm not saying that I did the surgery. I supported her rehab process to get stronger. And I'm just going to say, I'm going to stop sharing, is that there are days where it gets tough. There are days when it gets tough and we don't want to do anything. And we may take a day break. We might take a day where we just take a break. But but then sometimes that becomes a trend, right? We can get a little complacent. We can have those down days where we're like, this isn't going anywhere. I'm not getting stronger. I'm just not. What's the point? It's just going to happen anyway. What's the point here, right? We say those things to ourselves. And with my client, the one who I helped with the pre and post hip replacement surgery, she was grateful for our sessions because she knew she had to report to me once a week. She had to report to me once a week, regardless of what she did. But each time she would come, she would feel a little bit better because she had to look at things a little bit differently. She had to do things a little bit differently than she did before the hip surgery. And because she was compensating on one side for so long, right? She had to support that side. And I know that was mind-boggling and it was overwhelming. But she was taking one step at a time. Let's loosen your body up so that you can have that nice, strong posture. Let's start strengthening the areas that have weakened. And your movements are going to feel so much better. And they did, and they do. We still work together, actually. So just taking that into account, I'm so excited to hear your feedback on this talk. And if you want any information about my programming, please reach out. I also have a monthly newsletter that I run every month with different tips and just things that I am doing both in person and online. So go ahead and let me know what you thought. And I hope you have a great day. Thank you so much.